We live in an age of performance. Our lives are a stage, our audience the world, and our measure of success is likes, applause, and appearances. And this mentality, like a subtle poison, has contaminated our faith. Our Christianity has become, for many of us, just another performance to be maintained, and with it comes a silent pain, the pain of superficiality. The exhaustion of maintaining a veneer of piety in public, of saying the right words and singing the right songs, while our private life with God is dry, neglected, like an empty shell. In this investigation, guided by the wisdom of Charles Spurgeon, we will uncover the power that is forged not on stage, but behind the scenes of the soul. We will explore why the ancient and forgotten practice of seeking God in secret is not just another religious discipline, but the true source of all authenticity, all intimacy, and all power in the Christian life. To understand this principle, we don't need a complicated secret. We need only look to the example of the most powerful man who ever walked the earth, Jesus himself. The Bible shows us a fascinating pattern. The more the crowd sought him in public, the more Jesus withdrew to the deserts and mountains to pray in private. The Gospel of Luke tells us, but he would often withdraw to the deserts and pray. The most influential man in history teaches us the most fundamental lesson. Public power is a direct result of secret communion. The secret place was not an escape from Jesus' ministry. It was fuel for it. And it is in this place that our true faith is tested. This search for power that arises in secret is a journey, sometimes lonely, but one that unites us with a global community of seekers. To give us a glimpse of the scope of this assembly, I invite you to leave the name of your city and country in the comments. It's a privilege to know where each of you is in this quest for authentic faith. With our community gathered, let's move forward with the reality check. With our community gathered, we enter the backstage of the soul. And the first function of the secret place is the most frightening and the most liberating. It is the great reality test. It attacks the haunting doubt that in moments of honesty assails each of us. Is my faith genuine? Do I truly love God? Or do I just love the idea of being a Christian? Charles Spurgeon, with his penetrating clarity, would give us an infallible barometer. He would say that what you are on your knees, alone, when absolutely no one is looking, is what you really are. Public prayer can be a performance for men. Secret prayer is the naked reality of your heart before God, and herein lies the counterintuitive revelation. The purpose of the secret place, which Jesus taught us in Matthew chapter 6, is not just to hide from the world, it is to expose yourself completely to God. It's the only place in the universe where hypocrisy can't breathe. There's no reputation to protect. There's no audience to impress. There's no one to deceive. It's just you and God. And in that silence, the masks fall. This leads us to a secret prayer test, a question we can ask ourselves. If your prayer life, the one no one sees, were to disappear completely, what would be left of your faith? The honest answer to this question is the true barometer of the authenticity of your walk with God. Think of the secret place as the X-ray room of your soul. In public, we dress up, put on makeup, and put on our best appearance. But in the X-ray room, all of that is irrelevant. What appears in the image is the true skeletal structure of our faith, beneath the skin and makeup of our public religiosity. It is in this place of complete honesty that true intimacy can finally begin to be built. In the secret place where masks fall and our faith becomes authentic, the second great power begins to operate. It attacks the blockage of a relationship with God that seems formal, distant, and transactional. A relationship like that of an employee with a distant boss, based solely on reports and requests. Spurgeon's wisdom would remind us of a simple and universal truth. True friendship, by its very definition, is not forged in grand public events, but in moments of intimacy, in conversations no one else hears. And the same, he would say, applies to our relationship with God. And herein lies the shattering of expectations. It is in the secret place, in the silence of your room, that God ceases to be a theological concept you read about and becomes a confidant you speak with. It is there, far from the need to appear spiritual, that we can share with Him our most irrational anxieties, our simplest joys, and our most secret dreams, without any fear of judgment. It is in the secret closet that the God who sustains the universe with the word of His power bends down to become the most intimate friend of our soul. This radically changes the perception of the purpose of prayer. Secret prayer is not primarily about asking God for things. It is simply about enjoying God's company. Requests, petitions become a natural byproduct of communion, just as in any healthy friendship. Think of this through the analogy of a marriage. A strong and healthy marriage is not built solely at dinners and social events where the couple appears in public. The true strength of marriage is forged in the thousands of silent, honest, and vulnerable conversations that take place behind closed doors, in moments of shared laughter, comforted tears, and confided secrets. Your secret closet is the home of your relationship with God, and it is in this intimacy that we find the strength for our daily lives. Intimacy with God, forged in the secret place, produces the third great power: daily strength. And this power attacks a pain we all know well, the feeling of being spiritually weak, anemic, constantly drained, and overwhelmed by the demands and struggles of daily life. To understand the solution, we need to go back to the desert, to the people of Israel. God sustained them with manna, the bread that fell from heaven. And the manna had a fundamental rule: it was daily bread, except on the Sabbath. It could not be hoarded. If they tried to save it for the next day, it would rot. God was teaching them a vital lesson, the lesson of daily dependence. And herein lies the counterintuitive revelation for our faith. Spiritual strength is not like a cell phone battery, which we fully charge on Sunday and hope will last the entire week. Spiritual strength is like manna. It needs to be gathered fresh each morning. The secret place, your prayer closet, is your personal heavenly bakery. It is there, far from the crowd, that you receive the bread of the presence, the supernatural sustenance that will nourish you for the battles and demands of that particular day. This invites us to a practical discipline, the discipline of the first meal. Make a commitment to God and to yourself, not to feed your mind with the bread of the world, the news, social media, emails, before you have first fed your spirit with the manna of God's presence and word. Think of this through the analogy of the well. Each day of our lives is a journey through a desert of demands, pressures, and temptations. Your secret place is the well of living water, conveniently located at the beginning of your daily journey. Trying to cross the desert without stopping at the well in the morning, without filling your water bottle, is a sure recipe for exhaustion and spiritual dehydration in the midday heat. The secret place is not a luxury. It is a necessity for survival. With our strength renewed daily by the manna from heaven, we reach the fourth power of the secret place, clarity. And this power attacks the paralyzing anxiety of having to make important decisions in our careers, in our relationships, in our finances, without clear direction from God, the feeling of being lost in a sea of opinions and possibilities without a compass. Spurgeon's wisdom would remind us of the story of Elijah. God's voice was not in the wind, the earthquake, or the fire. It was in a still, small whisper, and it is a law of physics and spirituality. It is impossible to hear a whisper in the midst of a hurricane, and herein lies the shattering of expectation. The secret room is not just a place to speak to God, to present our petitions. It is primarily a place to listen to God. By silencing the anxious voices of the outside world, and especially the noisy voice of our own minds within, we create the necessary acoustic environment for the gentle guidance of the Holy Spirit to become audible to our spirit. This invites us to practice receptive silence. After your time of prayer, after you've poured out your heart and your requests to God, don't immediately get up and run back to the noise. Be silent for just 5 minutes. The goal isn't to hear an audible voice. And D, the goal is to cultivate a state of listening. It's to allow God's peace to quiet your anxious heart and, in that silence, bring a clarity that noise could never offer. Think of your mind as a lake. If the lake is constantly agitated by the wind of haste, anxiety, and many voices, its surface is murky and cannot reflect anything clearly. The secret place is where we ask the Spirit of God to calm the winds. It is where we allow the waters of our soul to finally settle. And when the waters are still and calm, they become a perfect mirror, capable of reflecting with crystal clarity the light and wisdom of heaven. And this clarity transforms us. With our renewed strength and our clear direction, we reach the fifth power of the secret place, and it attacks one of our deepest frustrations, the struggle to change. The exhausting battle against bad habits, against traits of our character that we dislike, a battle we fight with our own willpower and more often than not, lose. The Bible shows us a different path. The story of Moses is our first clue. After spending 40 days in the presence of God on Mount Sinai, he came down, and the text says that the skin of his face shone so brightly that people could not look at him. And the most fascinating detail is that he was unaware that his face was shining. In the New Testament, the Apostle Paul takes this event and transforms it into a principle for all of us. He says in 2 Corinthians chapter 3 that we all, beholding the glory of the Lord, are being transformed into the same image from glory to glory. And here lies the counterintuitive revelation that frees us from the tyranny of self-effort. The transformation of Christian character is not, first and foremost, an act of effort. It is a result of exposure. Holiness is, in a sense, contagious. The more time we spend in the presence of a perfectly holy God, the more, inevitably, we begin to resemble him, often without even realizing it. This radically changes our perception of change. Stop focusing so much on stopping doing the wrong things. Instead, focus primarily on being with God in the secret place. Holiness, patience, love, and kindness will become a natural byproduct of your intimacy with him. Think of God's presence as a kind of holy radiation. Your secret place is the exposure chamber. The longer we voluntarily expose ourselves to this holy radiation, the more the cancer cells of our sin are weakened and killed, and the more the health of Christ's character is miraculously formed within us. Change happens from the inside out, and this inner strength has a power that reaches outward. When God's secret presence begins to transform our character, we arrive at the sixth power born in the hidden, the power of intercession. And it attacks our deepest pain of helplessness, the feeling of seeing the suffering of those we love, of seeing injustice in the world, and of feeling small and incapable of doing anything about it. Charles Spurgeon, with the boldness of the prophets, believed that the history of the world was not primarily written in kings' palaces or on battlefields, but in the prayer closets of intercessors. He looked to men like Elijah, who, as James tells us, was a man with the same weaknesses as us, but who prayed fervently and changed the climate and spiritual destiny of an entire nation. And herein lies the shattering of expectations that redefines our agency in the world. The secret room is not a place of escape from the world. It is the command center for our engagement with the world. What our culture sees as the most passive, isolated, and useless act, a person alone in a room speaking to an invisible God, is in fact the most powerful act of intervention in reality that a human being can perform. This changes our perception. Bring the world into your secret room. Pray over today's newspaper headlines. Intercede for your neighbor who is suffering. Fight for the soul of your family on your knees. Your quiet room can become the epicenter of a spiritual earthquake that shakes cities. Think of this through the analogy of a lever. Our problems and the world's problems are like a 100-ton boulder, too heavy for us to move with our own hands. All our public effort, all our strength is useless. Secret prayer is the lever. And when we place this lever on the fulcrum, which is the rock of Christ's faithfulness and power, we discover that we can move the world with a strength that is in no way our own. And this place of power is also a place of healing. With the power of intercession in our hands, we reach the seventh power of the secret closet, and it attacks the most painful blockage of all, the weight of unconfessed sin, guilt and shame that instead of making us run to God, often make us hide from Him. King David, in Psalm 32, describes this agony perfectly. He speaks of how, while he kept his sins silent, his bones grew old, his strength wasted. But the moment he confessed, he experienced the joy of forgiveness. And here lies the counterintuitive revelation. Your secret closet is the safest place in the entire universe for you to be completely vulnerable and honest about your worst failings. It is not a courtroom where the judge stands with gavel in hand, ready to condemn you. It's the divine physician's office, where you can finally expose your deepest wounds, your most shameful infections, without any fear of judgment. Why? Because the physician examining you is the same one who has already paid, with his own blood, the full price for your treatment. This changes our perception of confession. Confession isn't about informing God about something He doesn't know. He already knows everything. Confession is about aligning ourselves with the truth. It's the act of agreeing with God about our condition, so we can open the channel for His purifying and healing grace to flow. It's the cleansing of the altar that allows the fire of God's presence to burn again. Think of your unconfessed sin as a splinter of wood festering within your soul. In public, you can try to cover it up. You can pretend it doesn't hurt, but it's still there, throbbing, poisoning your joy and your peace. The secret place is the operating room. It is where, under the anesthesia of God's grace, we finally allow the divine surgeon, with his firm and loving hand, to remove the shard and apply the healing balm of his forgiveness. The healing happens in secret, but the reward is public. With the soul healed by confession, we arrive at the eighth power of the secret place, and it attacks a subtle fear that can prevent us from seeking God in secret. The fear that a life of hidden devotion is a life of insignificance. The fear that if we are not doing visible things, we will not produce any results that the world can see or recognize. To this fear, Jesus gives us one of the most explicit and assured promises in the entire gospel. At the end of his instruction on secret prayer, in Matthew chapter 6, he says, "And your Father, who sees in secret, will reward you." Spurgeon, a master of the original language, would remind us that the Greek word here implies an open, public, visible reward. And herein lies the breaking of expectation. There is a spiritual law, a principle of cause and effect that is inevitable. Whatever is genuinely cultivated in secret with God, He Himself will make sure to flourish in public. The peace, wisdom, strength, emotional stability, and character that are forged in the intimacy of your secret closet will inevitably overflow into your actions, your words, and your relationships. People may not know the source, but they will see the fruit. This radically changes our focus. Stop chasing the fruit. Instead, invest all your effort in seeking the root. Take care of your secret life with God. Take care of your intimacy, your honesty, your dependence on Him, and He Himself will take care of making the fruits appear publicly at the right time and in the right way, for His glory. The final analogy is that of the tree's roots. No one walks through a forest applauding the silent, invisible, and sometimes ugly work of a great oak's roots. No one sees them, but everyone stops to marvel at the strength of its trunk, the beauty of its flowers in spring, and everyone feeds on its fruits in autumn. Your secret life with God is the root. Your public life is the fruit. Take care of the root, and God will take care of the fruit. Our investigation has taken us behind the scenes of the soul, and we have discovered the powers that are born when a believer dares to seek God in secret. The power of authenticity, of intimacy, of daily strength, of clear direction, of character transformation, of world-shaking intercession, of purification and healing, and of the open reward that God Himself promises. And all of this leads us to the powerful and final truth. The secret power that the world cannot see is not the result of a prayer technique. It is not a method to be mastered. It is the natural result of cultivating a friendship with a person. The secret, ultimately, is not the room. The secret is the one who awaits us inside the room, behind closed doors. The final invitation of this journey, therefore, is not for you to add another religious duty to your to-do list. It is an invitation to delight. An invitation for you to stop measuring your faith by your public performance and begin nurturing it in your private communion. Take a step today. It doesn't have to be a giant leap, a small step. Find 10 minutes in your day. Find a place where you can be alone. Close the door to the noise of the world and simply open the door of your heart to God. Let's end with a prayer. Father, we ask you, create in us a hunger and thirst for the secret place. Free us from the tyranny of appearances, from the need to be seen, and draw us, Lord, into the simple and profound joy of your presence. And may the power we cultivate in our secret place with you overflow to bless openly a world that desperately needs to see the reality of a God who relates intimately to His children. If you accept this invitation, if you wish to begin cultivating your secret place today, make a commitment. Scroll down to the comments and declare your intention. Write, Lord, I will close the door. May this be the beginning of a new depth, a new strength, and a new intimacy in your walk with Him. Amen.